Hi guys, welcome in this video, and this is another MQL5 tutorial in which I will show you one of my expert advisors that I have developed in the last couple of days. But in this case I won't be focusing that much on the coding part since I will be using the template that I have also showed you. So I will just explain how the expert advisor works, and it's gonna be more focused on an optimization of the expert advisor. I will show you how I do it. I will tell you some tips and tricks about what you have to bear in mind when you want to optimize your EA, and such a few more things like this. Okay, so let's start. My EA is, or this EA is based on the mean reversion strategy. The mean reversion is very simple. It means that you go against the current trend and you believe that the price is going to revert to its mean price. So in theory it's really simple. I will show you on this chart what I mean. So for example, here you have this uptrend, and then at this point you think it's going to go down to its mean, so you sell and it goes down. And yeah, for example, here you have downtrend, and then you think it's the price has to revert to its mean, so you think it will go up, so you open a buy position. So in theory it's really simple. Now in the real world it's not that simple, because you have to face different challenges, and the most challenging one is to pick the point where you think it's going to revert, because of course when we are looking back at the chart it's really simple to find those points, but in the real world it's not that simple. And yeah, so that's about the mean reversion strategy. In the past I have coded several different mean reversion EAs. Each of them used different approach and different calculations, but I think this is the best one I have came up with so far. Because when developing expert advisors, I try to focus on more like on the idea of the EA, and then I like to make an expert advisor around that idea. And the idea for this expert advisor is really simple. Here on my chart you can see these 3 boxes. In each of these boxes, each of these boxes contain 100 candlesticks. And what I want to do is to measure the relationship between each of these boxes, and then calculate the behavior of this set of boxes. So I use correlation to do this. Correlation is like a statistical approach to measure whether 2 data sets are having the same trend or the opposite trend, and that's exactly what I want. So my strategy looks like this. Firstly, I take the last box and the second box, and I calculate the correlation between these two, and I want to see clear trend. And then I move on to the second and the first box, and I calculate the correlation as well. But in this case, what I am looking for is for the negative correlation, and the negative correlation means that there's opposite trend. So for example, if price in this box goes down, and price in this box goes up, then there's a negative correlation, and that's what I am looking for, because this negative correlation means that there's a change in the price, and therefore there's a possibility for the how to call it, for the price reversion. Yeah, let's call it that way. And that's the mean reversion, of course. Yeah, so that's the idea. It's pretty simple, and let's check the code. So now I open my MT5 editor, and yeah, I have already coded my expert advisor, because it's tough for me to code and explain the things during so I have coded this before, and now I will just tell you how I came up with this code. Okay, so the base of this code was my template, or my improved template, and I will leave the link to the video where I create this template somewhere here, so you can check it. And yeah, that was the base. I have changed a few things in this template to make it more appropriate for this type of expert advisor, and the changes I will show you now. So first thing I did is that I'm not using take profit and stop loss points, but as you can see here, I am using something called take profit multiplier and stop loss multiplier. And this is because I am using an ATR indicator for determining the stop loss and take profit, and these are the multipliers for the ATR. So that's the first change I've done in this expert advisor, and I think it's the only change, I believe. So it's not that difficult. Okay, so now I will show you the function in which I check for the correlations, and if there are signs of correlations that I am looking for, I am buying or selling. So here are the inputs that I need for my correlation. The first one is the box input, and as I have showed you here, this is the box, and there is some number of candlesticks inside the box, and this input means how many candlesticks are there gonna be in one box. So you can either increase or decrease this number based on your preference. The second argument or input that I've added is this trend correlation. If you know about correlation, you know that its value ranges from 1 to -1. If the value is larger than 0.5, then there's significant correlation, and we can say that there's a trend between two datasets. So, for example, these two boxes, if the correlation between these two boxes, the last one and the second one, was higher than 0.5, we can say that there's a trend between these two boxes. So yeah, this is our value for determining the trend. And then you can see that we have another correlation input called an entry correlation, and we are dealing in negative numbers. That's because if there's opposite trend, then the correlation value is going to be lower than -0.5. And that's what we are looking in between the second and the first box. So if this goes down and this box goes up, then there's negative correlation, which indicates that there's change in the trend between these two boxes. So that's what we are looking for in here. And the ATR period, that's just the period for the ATR indicator, which is used for the take profit and stop loss purposes. Okay, so let's move on. I have created 3 arrays, first batch, second batch, and the third batch. Each of these arrays are for each of these boxes. So I will be storing information about the candlesticks in each of these boxes to the appropriate arrays here. Then I have imported this math library that I will be using in order to calculate the correlation. So that's very helpful. And yeah, then I have created 2 more arrays, and now I'm looking at it. I think I don't need the first array because in process of developing this EA I have tried multiple variations of the code, and in one of them I used moving average as well, but I think I don't need it in this version, and yeah, that's correct. So I just have my ATR array right here, and this ATR array is used for storing ATR values, which I later on use when calculating take profit and stop loss. Okay, so that's that, and now let's check the signal function. So the signal function, I'll just clear this, starts here, and as you can see, it doesn't take that much space, so the code isn't that difficult. And let's check it. So right here I am creating 2 variables. The first one is of type static integer. That means that because if you don't create a static variable, if you call this function again and again, then this value would change or would be set to default on each call of the function. And because I want to store some value in here that I want to check for multiple calls of this function, I want to make it a static variable. So this is for the last signal. So this variable is going to store a number of the candlestick of the last signal. So if I have my signal, then I store a number of the last candlestick into this variable, which prevents me from entering multiple positions like on consecutive candlesticks. Okay, I have a feeling that I didn't explain this at all, but yeah, my English is not the best, so sorry for that, but I hope you will be able to figure it out on your own as I go on. Okay, so now I'm calling this copy buffer function, and as you can see, I'm using ATR handle and ATR array, so I'm just storing ATR values into this ATR array, and that's all. Now the interesting part comes here, right here. So I am creating a for loop, and as you can see, I am going from value 0 until the x is lower than the box input variable. So I am looping through all of the numbers until it reaches the box variable. So in this case it's 100, and then I increase the x value by each iteration, and then I store these values into the first batch variable, second batch variable, and the third batch variable. I am storing closing values at these positions, So what I do here to the first batch is like this first rectangle. So into the first batch I am storing the last 100 candlesticks. To the second batch, which corresponds to this box, I am storing also 100 candlesticks, but for each of them, because you access the closing price by passing the indexing variable. So for example, if I put 150 here, and gives me the 150th candlesticks from the current time. So therefore I am adding the box variable. So right now it starts at 100 and it goes on. So the box is 100 and then it adds the x variable. So I am accessing values at 100, 101, 102 and so on until 200. So this is this box. And then for the last box I'm doing the same thing, but I am adding this box variable times 2. So that's how I can obtain these values. So yeah, that's that. It's still pretty simple. Then I am creating two new double variables. So this is the previous correlation and the current correlation. The previous correlation is going to be used for calculating the correlation between the last box and the second box, and the current correlation is going to be used for calculating the first box and the second box. And then I call these two correlation functions in which I calculate the correlations. And now here you can see my last part of this signal function code, and here I'm just checking for my conditions. So what I want to see is that the previous correlation value is higher than the trend correlation input value. So for example, if the previous correlation, so the correlation between these two boxes is 0.8 and my threshold is 0.7, then this condition is satisfied. And at the same time I am checking for the current correlation to be lower than the entry correlation. So yeah, that's the correlation between these two boxes, and it has to be lower than my entry correlation input variable. If these conditions are okay at the same time, then I move on. This part just you don't have to think about this condition because it's not that significant for my code, but all you have to know is that we are returning integer 2, which corresponds to the selling signal in case that we went higher. So if we went like higher like this and we are at this point, then we are selling, and in the opposite signal or the opposite case that we were higher, then we went down and now we go back up, we are buying. So that's what this function is for. Okay, so this is the main thing, and I just want to show you how I dealt with the ATR, take profit and stop loss, which you can see right here. So what I did is that I just replaced the take profit and stop loss points by the ATR array value. So you can see it here, here, here and here, and then I multiplied it by the stop loss multiplier for the stop loss part and take profit multiplier for the take profit part. I have also had to deal with the lot sizing function, because if you remember correctly, we have to pass an argument into the lot sizing function, and the argument has to be the number of points for our stop loss. So how I deal with that is that I take our ATR value, I multiply it by the stop loss multiplier, and then I divide it by the point. And with this calculation, it returns the stop loss points in the points. So that's just this. Okay, so that's all for my code, and now I would like to go back to my MT5 platform and to the tester. So firstly, I just want to show you how this looks like without any optimization. So I will go to inputs, I will set everything to default. So now we are using for the take profit multiplier 2, stop loss multiplier 4, so that's nothing fancy right here, box, so we want 100 values for each box. Trend correlation, let's set it to 0.6 to have more positions. Entry correlation to 0.5, negative 0.5, that's okay, and we can leave the ATR period as 14. Okay, so let's enable the visual mode and let's check how this EA looks like when it's working. So nothing happens, and okay, nothing is happening, and we can see our first position right here. So this is our first position, and if we check the last 300 candlesticks, because that's like the range that we are doing our calculations on, we can see that 300 bars we are okay right here. So this is the range that we are performing our calculations on. So the idea is that now let's select the last 200 candlesticks and let's see if there's a trend between them. So these are the last 200 candlesticks. So on this range we were calculating the trend, and as you can see there's a significant trend. And then on the last 100 candlesticks we wanted to see the opposite move, which looks like this works exactly as I wanted to. So that's great. Let's resume the testing and let's see if anything else happens. Okay, so the next buy position is the same. We have our down movement and then we go back up, and right here we are entering a buy position. So this looks great, and let's wait for one more position and sell position. So we are going up, then back down, and yeah, we are entering a sell position. And buy position, this is open for discussion because I don't see a clear trend, or there's a trend, but there's not like that significant trend, like which is right here. So these are the okay, but I guess from this point down here there's a downtrend, and then we are going back up. Okay, so this is how the indicator, the EA works like. At this point I would like to show you how I would go about optimizing this EA, because that's the crucial part when you want to have a profitable expert advisor. So I will disable this visual mode and go to the overview, select the genetic optimization, and let's see what happens. So this is just like my approach. It's not something that it's not the only way you have to optimize your code, but it's my way of how I optimize my code. So the first thing I do is that I like to start on 1 hour time frame, because it's a well-known fact that as you select lower time frame, the noise on your chart multiplies. So with lower time frame, more noise, higher time frame, less noise. There will be one thing that also is not great for higher time frames, and that is that with the higher time frame you open less positions, and vice versa. With lower time frame you open more positions. When in testing, it's crucial to base when you evaluate your EA, you want to do it on the highest number of open positions you can get. So if you, for example, open just like 40 positions over the last 5 years and the EA seems profitable, it's only 40 positions. So that's not something you want to base your EA's performance on. And this is like the struggle you have to deal with when optimizing the expert advisor. So let's test it out. Okay, so we'll start on Euro USD 1 hour time frame, and now to the optimization part. In statistics, there is something called overfitting. Overfitting is a well-known how to call it. In machine learning, the overfitting is something that you have to be very aware of, and it's simply that you are cherry picking the correct inputs to get the best results, and that's something you want to avoid. One thing you have to keep in mind is that it's not a good practice to optimize too many parameters at once. So for example, what I don't want to do is to optimize take profit, stop loss, break even, trailing stop, time filter, and this box, ATR period, all of these parameters at once, because I would be cherry picking the combination of these inputs that work, but it would be overfitting the expert advisor. So I would get great results, but in the real trading, I would be losing money. So that's something I try to avoid. So let's start with the take profit, stop loss. So this is like the first batch of parameters, and we can go up to 3 parameters or 3 batches of parameters, because like you can't optimize take profit without the stop loss and stop loss without the take profit. So this is like the 1 parameter. And let's go from multiplier of 1, increase by 0.25, and stop of 4. And for stop loss, I don't want to go that high right now, so let's set it to 8. Volume type, I can leave it like this. This is not important when optimizing your expert advisor. I don't want to use break even or take profit, trailing stop as well, and I don't want to optimize it right now either. I don't want to use time filter, and I don't want to optimize it as well right now. What I want to optimize is the box variable. So this is like our second parameter, and then the trend and entry correlation, which is our last parameter, because it's the same thing as with the take profit and stop loss. It goes together, so you can't optimize one and leave the other. You have to optimize them at once. Okay, so for the box variable, I will go from 10 candlesticks in a box. I will increase by 10 and go as high as to 200 candlesticks in one box. For the trend correlation, I will start at 0.5, since everything above 0.5 is significant correlation. and I want to increase by 0.05, 0.05, and the same thing goes for the entry correlation. I will start at 0.4, okay, and I will do the same step here. Okay, and the ATR period can be like this. So this is our optimization prepared. So let's click on start and let's see how it goes. And also I am testing this expert advisor on the last 2 years. Okay, so let's wait a bit for the results. Okay, so the optimization is done, and as you can see, we are getting just terrible results. Now, there's a reason why I'm not bothered by that, and that is that the reason why we are getting terrible results is that it's not the profit factor, because the profit factor is perfect, like profit factor of, let's go, of 15, that's perfect. But if you look at this closer, you can see the issue, and the issue is that we have 3 total positions, which is too low, because if you remember, like few minutes before this, I talked about how it's important to have a lot of positions tested in order to be able to say that your EA is valid, and you can see it here, 11 positions, 9 positions, 15 positions, 24 positions, 25 positions, yet the result is still great, because profit factor of 5 is perfect, but with 25 positions over the last 2 years, that's really bad. So now I have to think, what can I do in order to increase the number of positions? It's not in the settings, because in the settings I have tried all of the variations of the settings. So if there was like some combination in the settings that would yield to higher number of positions, it would be shown here. Maybe if we go down here, we have more positions. So for example, here we have 100 positions, which is good. I would base the performance of my EA based on this, for example. But if we check it with the 100 positions, we have only 1.37 profit factor, which is not bad. But if you compare it to this, it's bad. Yeah, in comparison, it's bad, but on its own, it's not that bad. So if I just will test this set of settings, let's see how the graph looks like, and yeah, this looks okay. This is like valid for the EA, but yeah, it's not something I am satisfied with. So there's one thing I can do, and that is to go to the lower time frame. So I like to do that. If 1 hour time frame for some reason doesn't work, mostly it's because the number of positions is too low, then I like to test it on 15 minutes time frame. I don't like using the 30 minutes time frame. I don't know why, but I just don't like it. So let's go to 15 minutes. Let's optimize it as well, and I will see you here once the optimization is done. And right before that, you can already see that the number of positions skyrockets here. You can 128, 128, 77, which is still great. Yeah, so I will see you in a bit. Okay, so the optimization done as well, and as you can see, we are getting similar results as on the 1 hour time frame, but let's not jump to conclusions, because I think if I scroll down, I will start seeing something like this. Like in this result, the MT5 is able to the difference between good and bad results based on its color. So if you are seeing red, it's bad result based on these statistics, and if you are seeing green, it's a good result. The darker the green, the better the result. So you can see that if we scroll down here, we are getting some good results. So for example, here you can see that we have profit factor of 2.44, which is perfect, with 100 open positions, which is quite a lot. So let's test this one out. So let's see how it goes. So here is our chart, which looks very nice. And here is our, this is the graph, this is the chart. We don't care about the chart right now, we do care about the graph. So this looks perfect in my opinion. Let's check the backtest results. So we can see here that the profit rates 88% winning percentage, which is perfect. But with all of your EAs, you don't want to focus on the winning percentage, because that's something that won't tell you the real performance of the EA. What you want to focus on is this average profit and losing rate. So this tells you how many, I'm not sure in which metric is this. I think it's like USD. So how much USD you win on average and how much you lose on average. So based on this, you can calculate your risk-reward ratio. So in this case, it's something like 1 to 3.2, something like this, which is pretty okay if you ask me. So let's go back to optimization results and let's see different settings. So for example, this, you can see that we go lower on the profit factor, but we go higher on positions. So that's something I like to see as well. Let's search for some different settings here. Okay, now we go, for example, here you can see that we go even lower on the profit factor statistic, but we go higher on positions, and 1.7 profit factor is still good, and with 140 positions, that's really something. And also what you want to take into an account is the risk-reward ratio. So in this case, it's like not even 1 to 2, because you have 4 when you win, 7.5 when you lose. So it's much better, it's much better ratio than in the previous test. So that's something you want to take into an account as well, because yeah, this looks even better for me. Okay, so this is it. So we can see that as we go lower on the time frame, we get more positions, and then the question is, can we still be profitable with more of the positions? Because if you have like 5 positions, it's very simple to cherry pick those 5 positions and to have all of them profitable. It's very simple, but it's not that simple to have, for example, 160 positions profitable. So you have to, I don't know how to call it, but with time, when you optimize a lot of your EAs, you get like that feeling for it, when you know whether it's more profitable for you to have a higher profit factor and lower positions number, or lower profit factor but higher positions number. In my opinion, it's always better to aim for more positions and a lower profit factor. Like, yeah, from my side, this is the best approach, because statistically it makes sense. It makes a lot more sense than aiming for a higher profit factor and lower positions. So for example, what I wouldn't do is that, for example, select these 22 positions with 6.68 profit factor, because it's not statistically significant result. Even though it looks great on this chart, I am sure that it wouldn't work on the real account. There's one more thing I would like to show you when it comes down to optimizing your code. Sorry, not your code, your expert advisors, is that you can test. Okay, so you optimize the EA on one time period. So in this case, it starts at 222 and you go to 224. So you get your optimization results, and then you can test this EA on a time period that it had never seen before. So for example, now I can change this to the previous 2 years, and I can test any of these settings on those 2 years that it had never seen before, and see if it works on it as well. Because what can happen, for example, here, is that this settings works perfectly on the optimization period, but over the testing period, which is setting a different period from the optimization period, it works really bad. So that's something you want to test out as well. There's one feature in the MT5 tester which I like when I am developing serious EAs, because this one is not a serious EA, this is just like for teaching purposes and such. So it's not like it's not something I would be using on my account. But when I am developing my own serious EAs, I always use this option, this forward option, and I always use this 1:2 ratio. What this forward option means is that, for example, if I select time period from 220 to 224, that it divides this testing period into 2 selections. So the first one is since 220 to 222, and the second one is since 222 to 224. And on the first time section, it optimizes the parameters, and then it tests these parameters on the second section. So it's exactly what I showed you here, and the idea is that the EA has to work on both of these periods, because if the EA works only on optimized period, which is what happened in this case, then it won't be useful in the future, because yeah, it only works on the optimized period. So if you use this forward function or this functionality, you can obtain much more realistic results, and it also solves your over optimization or overfitting issue. So if I'm using this forward function, then what I can do is that I can optimize more features at once. So for example, let's use the trailing stop just for this matter. Let's set it to 300, for example. Let's set it to, for example, 150, and 20. So now that I'm using this forward feature, I can optimize more inputs at once, because it will make sure that I'm not cherry picking. So let's run this one more time, and let's also select a new currency pair. So for example, GBP USD can be something interesting. Let's stick to the 15 minutes time frame, because as we have seen on 1 hour time frame, it doesn't open much positions. So yeah, let's go with this, and let's see how much time this takes. Okay, so now it optimizes the expert advisor over the period 220 to 222. So this is the optimization results for this period, and after this optimization is complete, then it will test all of these combinations on the new period, which is 222 to 224, and it will show you how robust these results are. Okay, so let's wait. Once I started doing this forward functionality in this MT5 tester, it did two things. Firstly, it saved me a lot of time, because before I was never sure if I am overfitting the EA or not, if the results that I am getting from the tester can be significant or not, and stuff like this. And yeah, thanks to this forward feature, I know that I'm not cherry picking, because it has to be tested on the data it had never seen before. And the second thing that happened is that you realize that most of the EAs are not profitable, because I think here we will see the same thing, and that's that the results will be terrible. But let's see. Let's wait and see for what happens. Okay, so this optimization took a lot of time, but it has finally finished. So let's check the results. And as I have told you, I think the results will be real terrible, and so far it maybe looks like it, but maybe. Okay, so let's start. So here you can see the optimization results. So these results are for optimizing those 2 years. So this is the 4-year period. As we have used this forward functionality, we are optimizing on 2 years and then testing on 2 years. So these are for the last, or for the previous 2 years, and then we take all of these results and test them on time period that we are not optimizing on. So we are just testing. And what we can see here, we can see that the best results we obtained with a very low number of positions. So that's not something we want to see. And if we scroll down, we can see that the first results, we can see, for example, here, this is not a bad result. We have forward profit factor of 2, and on optimization 2.42, which is great. And then on this testing period, we opened 58 positions. So if we run this is how it looks like over the last 4 years. So these are the results. Okay, this doesn't look bad. This looks really good. And then, so this is the first so this is the first 2 years, and then we start over. So this is not like a huge loss that we took. This is like resetting the tester, and this looks great in my opinion. So this is a setting that I would consider using on my account, because this looks really well. So if we scroll down a bit, let's see some different results that we could use. Okay, I'm not seeing anything in here. Okay, maybe this doesn't look that bad. So if we test it out, we can see that in the optimization period, this works really well, and now we should be resetting our equity and balance line, and now this is the testing period, which also doesn't look so bad. Okay, we took a huge loss over there, but yes, this doesn't look bad. So yeah, this is it. We have obviously a lot more options to go through, but I don't want this video to be any longer, so I won't do it. But since you have the source code, you can optimize it for yourself and see how it performs. Now, the main question is, would I use this expert advisor on my account? And if so, why yes? And if not, why? The short and simple answer is that I would not use this expert advisor on my account, and the explanation is pretty simple. The issue is that if you have a profitable expert advisor, all or not all of the results, but majority of the results should be good. Okay, and then you want to pick the best, because here you can see that we are getting bad results all the way, bad results. So we are receiving very bad results right here, also here, and then we, for example, can find like 2 or 3 instances of the settings that work really well. But if we think about it, we are cherry picking the inputs, because all of the other inputs don't work well, but a few of them do. Why is that? Because we are cherry picking the inputs. So that's not something I want to do. And that's the reason why I wouldn't use this EA on my personal account. But of course, this is just my opinion. You can code this EA by yourself. Here is the script, so I will just go through this script so you can see everything that I have here, so you can code this EA on your own. So just 1 second. Yeah, you can see everything in here, and yeah, that's the EA. That's it. So now you can code it by yourself and see if this EA is profitable for you or not. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.